Hello kids, welcome. Please take a seat. Today I'm going to teach you how to be successful. So number 1, go to school and have good grades. Number 2, go to college and have good grades. And then you will be able to have a high-paying job as an executive, a doctor or a lawyer. But teacher, there are very successful people who didn't go to college, like Henry Ford, Edison or Bill Gates.
Shut up! I am the teacher. I am always right.
Good boy, you're so cute. So as I was saying, once you get the high-paying job, you buy a house because a house is an asset. Your house is your biggest asset and it will make a ton of money for you.
Worst day on Wall Street.
Oops. Dogmas. I love dogmas. Do you like dogmas? Dogmas are those fabulous concepts that are imposed on us, whether they make sense or not. And the dogma that you must buy a house to become rich and be a respectable person must be the second biggest dogma in our modern society, right behind the dogma that you must go to college if you don't want to end up homeless. If I had received 10 cents every time somebody told me this, hey, I just bought a house. My house is my biggest asset. It will make me rich in 30 or 40 years. You should do the same, Daniel. You should put all your savings to buy a house. Come on, do it! If I had received 10 cents every time, I would be so rich now that I would make Jeff Bezos blush with envy. Well, I think that you got the point. In this video, I will debunk the myth that buying a house to live in is a good investment, because it is not an investment at all. And by the end of this video, I will suggest to you an alternative plan that you can implement instead. Before getting started, do not forget to subscribe and activate the notification bell to never miss a new video and increase your financial literacy. Well, if you ask most people around you, they will tell you that their house is their biggest asset. And that is precisely myth number 1, because your house is not an asset. But wait a second, before going forward, what is an asset? Really, what is an asset? I could now give you very complicated and technical definitions of asset. But don't worry, there is a very simple but very effective definition for asset. An asset is something that puts money into your pocket consistently. Nothing more, as simple as that. The opposite of an asset, that is a liability, is something that takes money out of your pocket consistently. Some quick examples of assets are stocks, bonds, or businesses that you own. Those are things that put money in your pocket consistently. Liabilities are typically debt, such as a car leasing or a mortgage or those fancy vacations that you paid with a credit card. You have to pay for this every single month. They take money out of your pocket. Now that you know the definitions of assets and liabilities, what about a house that you buy to live in? Is it an asset or a liability? Most people tell you that a house is an asset because when you sell the house, decades ahead into the future, you will very likely sell the house for a higher price than the price that you bought it for. So when you sell the house, it will put money into your pocket, so it is an asset. But no, not that fast. I said that an asset is something that puts money into your pocket consistently. And a house puts money into your pocket only when you sell 20, 30 or 40 years into the future. That is not consistent. And what happens between the moment you buy the house and the moment you sell the house? During that moment, before you sell, for decades, you have a lot of expenses. First of all, you have to pay for the interest payment on the mortgage. You have to pay off the mortgage also. And then you need to pay for the estate tax. You have to pay for the maintenance of the house because some appliances break down now and then. At the moment you have to renovate the roof, you have to take care of the garden, and so on. At that moment, you realize that your house is taking money out of your pocket consistently every month because of the interest payment, the mortgage payment, the maintenance, the estate tax, etc. As a conclusion, your house is taking money out of your pocket consistently. So it is, you got it, a liability. Yes, but Daniel, when I sell my house in 20 years for twice the price or 3 times the price I bought it for, I am still making money, so it is still an investment. Okay, Fair enough. Let's forget about consistency for a second and let's assume that your house is an asset because it will put money into your pocket in the future when you sell it. Even when we consider a house to be an asset, when we make all the mathematics, all the calculations, we realized that a house as an asset has a very, very low return. Let's take an example and see what is the financial return of a house. Imagine that we have a house that is worth $100,000. We thus need a $20,000 down payment. 20 years later, you can sell the house for twice the price, $200,000. That's awesome! I just made $200,000 by only investing $20,000. It's a great investment. But no, wait a second, because that is just gross profit. We need to take all the expenses into account. First, you had to pay off the mortgage. That's $80,000. The net profit is already down to $100,000. Then remove the interest payment. Let's say that the interest rate was 4% to take a historical value. Because yes, the interest rate that we have right now is not normal compared to the historical average. The profit is down to $84,000. Then remove all the maintenance costs, that is, repairs, estate taxes, and so on. We're going to be very gentle and assume it is only $1,500 per year. That's a total of $30,000 in 20 years. The profit is now down to $54,000. Then we have to take into account the capital gain taxes because you made money on your property by buying and selling it. Let's be optimistic again and say it is only 10%. In that case, it would be $10,000 in capital gain taxes. We end up with a net profit of $44,000 in 20 years with an initial investment of $20,000. That would be a 4% return per year, which is pretty low, but okay. And remember, the whole calculation I made is pretty optimistic. But wait a second, you had to invest much more than $20,000 into that house. You have to take into account the mortgage payoff, the interest payments, and the maintenance. Bottom line, when we take everything into account, the return on your house is around 1.08%. And that is a very low return. And when we take inflation into account, the return is even worse. But it's okay. You got the point already. And that return is even lower when you compare it to the stock market that gives you an average return of 9% per year, or real estate that you buy to rent that can give you a return between 5 to 14% per year. Even US Treasury bonds, the most boring and the most unprofitable paper asset, gives you a better return. To summarize all of this, a house, when you live in it, is a liability, and when you sell it, it has a very, very low return. That should be enough to bust myth number 1. A house is not an asset. Let's jump on myth number 2. A house is a safe investment. Whenever I debunk myth number 1, people usually tell me this. Oh yes, Daniel, my house has a very low return, but it is a very safe investment, so it is okay to have a very low return if it is very safe. That seems to make sense. But the problem is, a house is not as safe as people think. The price of houses, just like everything, go up and down. We don't even have to go very far away into the past to see an example where the price of houses fell down very sharply. We only have to look at 2008, where the prices of houses went down by 20, 30, 40, or even 50% in the United States, in Canada, in Spain, in Italy, in Greece, in Ireland, and many, many other countries. And even though the prices of real estate went up to its previous level more or less rapidly, depending on the regions, it was more than enough to bankrupt millions of families and to cause millions of evictions. Because if the price of your house goes down so dramatically and you sell, you maybe still owe money to your bank because you sold your house below the market price that you bought it for. And that is exactly what happened to many people in 2008 and in many other occasions in history. And even when there is no real estate crash or no economic crisis, a house can be a very dangerous investment for another reason, another event that might occur: divorce. In most developed countries, the divorce rate is above 50%, and since most people buy a house right after getting married, they then have to sell the house pretty fast. And sometimes bitter spouses try to sell the house at a very low price to basically screw up each other. And there is also a lot of deceiving data about houses. For instance, this chart that is very used, and it shows how the price of houses has gone up, up, and up through the decades. Let me give you another perspective on that chart. Consider this. The US dollar has lost 90% of its value from 1970 up until today. And it's pretty much the same things for other currencies. So is it really houses that appreciate, that increase in price? Or is it simply the US dollars that loses its value, that loses its purchasing power? I think it is the second option, and having that in mind really puts that famous graph into perspective. But Daniel, what does that mean? Does that mean that I should never buy a house? That I should rent an apartment the rest of my life? No, that's not what I mean. I am not saying to never buy a house. What I am saying is this. Buying a house is an expense, like any other, like buying a car, go on vacation, or buy a boat. Do not make your house the backbone of your wealth, like the majority of people do. I think I gave enough reasons why, and I hope you're convinced. Besides, you don't want to be average, right? Do not spend all your savings to buy a house. If you have $200,000 in savings, for example, and you use $50,000 to buy a house, and the $150,000 remaining you invested in real assets, that is fine. It is a wise decision. It is not wise, however, to use the $200,000 to buy one big house to live in. And please, do not save money for 10 years or more and then use all those savings to buy a house. It is a real trap. Here is what you could do instead. Before buying a house, you could save money to then invest it in assets that will generate passive income, such as dividend-paying stocks, businesses, or real estate. And I mean not your own house, a house to rent it to somebody else. And once you have generated enough passive income, you can use that passive income to buy your own house. That would be a wise way to buy your own house. Or another option that I have seen quite a few people do, you can buy a multi-family house and live in one of the apartments. You will have your own house, that is your own apartment, and then all the advantages of having invested in real estate. Also something to think about. That's it for this video about buying a house. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something from it. If that is the case, a little thumbs up is always appreciated. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you have a question, if there's a topic you want me to cover in a future video, you can send me an email to the address that is in the description below. And I will see you soon.